Good morning traders, it's Carlo from Blueberry and welcome back to the week ahead. This morning it is back to risk on. We're seeing reports that the United States and Iran have moved closer to a deal, and therefore we have seen oil prices. I have West Texas crude in front of me. Oil prices have gapped 5% lower and they're even lower now from the open, down 6.1%. Equally, we've seen the US dollar weaken, so you'll see the Aussie up 0.5%, the Kiwi up 0.5%, the Euro up 0.5% against the US dollar, the pound sterling as well. If we look at gold and silver, gold is up 1.3% against the weaker US dollar, and we're seeing silver up 3.4% against the weaker USD. Not a lot of move in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up a smidgen, up 0.4%. But it's also US equity indices. And remember, last week, Friday, we saw another record high in the S&P 500, the Dow Jones and NASDAQ. And we're seeing equity markets stronger this morning. The Dow's up 0.6%, S&P 500 up 0.7%. The NASDAQ is up 1% as well too. And that is a state of play right now. Will these strong moves that we've seen this morning continue for the remainder of the week? Well, that would depend on the US-Iranian deal and if it does get signed, still delivered this week. Now, in terms of macroeconomic data, there's not a lot to focus on this week, but we'll just go through what may impact equities, rates, currencies and commodities this week. It's not until Wednesday we have the Reserve Bank of New Zealand's interest rate decision. Now, they have been on hold and they're not expected to change the cash rate. They're expected to leave it unchanged at 2.25%. As you can see, the Kiwi this morning is quite bid given the weakness in the US dollar with risk on. Thursday, the Fed Reserve's preferred measure of inflation, the core PC price index, is released. It's expected to come out around 3.2%. Again, inflation remains high, not too high. So we will see if we do get any comments this week from new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh. On Thursday evening, we do have US GDP. It remains around about 2%, and that's what is forecast as well. So keep an eye on that as well. Friday, we do have German employment data, where the market consensus is for a small increase in only 11,000 jobs. So economies across Europe and even the UK remain quite sluggish, and inflation is a little bit on the high side. Not too much in Germany. German CPI coming out at 2.8% is the forecast versus 2.9 previously. And then over in Canada, we do have the GDP data coming out, 0.7%. Again, the economy in Canada is underperforming compared to the United States economy. Inflation's lower. Here, GDP is expected to be lower as well too. Cash rate 2.25%. Not a lot going on. So that's the data for this week. Obviously, the focus remains on US-Iranian conflict and any peace deal that gets signed in the next 48 hours. And that should give quite a strong bid tone to equity markets, as we have already seen this morning and for the majority of last week. As always, good luck with your trading, and I'll see you in the next video.